You're watching Living and Thriving with Rustie, and I am Rustie of the podcast Living and Thriving with Rustie. And today we get to explore another part of this infinite universe as the big bags of water surfing on a big rock going into infinity and during a pandemic. Whoa. We get to go from country to country, city to city, town to town, meeting some really amazing people who are doing really amazing things. Some of the takeaways that I've had, oh my God, I've got tons, piles for days, but you have to watch the shows to actually get most of them. Find your passion, write a mission statement, be creative, do something for somebody else, self-care. Routines are huge right now. I know that most of you guys are wearing a 3-day-old spaghetti stained shirt. You need to change it, take a bath, brush your teeth, put on some deodorant. I mean, come on. Vacation time's over. Get into a routine, get healthy, get excited. This is a great time to co-create. This is a great time to learn a new skill or to clean out the closet that you keep forgetting to clean out, or that infamous junk drawer that we all have. You know, we all have one. I've cleaned mine out twice and somehow it still accumulates. Why is that? But I did find all my Tupperware lids. Just saying, no left socks. I live in Florida, so we don't really use socks down here. Shh, secret. Today, I'm really excited because WT's here. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm living the dream. Shoot, I'm alive. I'm spicy. I've been to England, Spain, Ireland, and California today. Where
Wow.
are you?
I'm in London, Ontario.
Oh, Canada.
In Canada, yeah.
Yes. I love Canada. When I went to college, I actually went to college in Vermont. And so I was able to frolic in Canada quite a bit. And it's just so beautiful. And people are so nice.
Yeah.
Laid back. I really love it. And your humor is almost as good as the Brits.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So, who are you? What do you do? What motivates you to be you?
So I'm a business consultant, but I'm an author as well. I write entrepreneur books. I write books that only have one chapter, solving one business problem at a time, and helping driven entrepreneurs to learn how to use mindset and different types of skills that normally you would use just for personal development, but how to use that in business as well.
I was actually having a conversation this morning with a person who is a manager in Hong Kong, and he wants to come on the show. So I'm kind of trying to figure out if he's going to be a good fit. And the one thing that we agree on is we absolutely love being a manager. We don't like the hours. We like the team. We like watching our team grow. We like watching the business grow because of our coaching. But the hours suck, don't they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So for me, I'm kind of lucky because I'm a consultant. So I can juggle a lot of things around. So I don't have a set 9 to 5 hours type of thing. So it's very, very freeing and a lot of fun.
And I think everybody who has that coaching ability or that skill set or that desire, because it is a labor of love, I think we all should be consultants because we can spread that joy of what we know as a skill set further. What is one of the fabulous things that you teach in your book?
So really it's how to look at the solution, how to really find the solution instead of focusing on the problem, and how to do that using like mindset as more than just like a lot of time people know these motivational things that you can say and some cool things to put on Instagram to say at a party, but how do you actually make that work in your life, put action to it, so it's not just some cool words that you can say.
So what's the action? Dish.
So the action really is figuring out what it is that you need to do, and then just taking small steps to create momentum. So a lot of people, they want to skip over the first few steps. They want to get to that the action, the real exciting parts. But it's understanding there's little things that you can do, and each little thing is like a ripple, and it creates that wave, and it'll open doors for you even though you can't see them opening, just because you took a little bit of action. So you don't have to do big exciting things every single day, but like you were saying at the beginning, when I came on, have a routine, have some consistency, right? And as you're doing that consistency and building those habits, you're going to get that mindset that you can start to achieve those things, because you start to see the things that you're focused on, something small is happening. And just then you start to get that belief that, okay, yeah, I can do this, because look, I've already started this piece here and it's working, and now I've added this piece and it's starting to work, and before you know it, you're going to do something big.
I call it the modular effect. So when I'm consulting businesses, I always have them come at me with their big grand scheme plan, the big picture, that big
Yeah.
fantasy end story. And then I look at them and I'm like, well, how are you going to build that?
Mm-hmm.
And the fact is, everything is built layer by layer, brick by brick, and they're all modular pieces. It's all, what can you do? You always do the easy stuff first, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
then challenge yourself to do a little harder, a little bit more. I think as a society, we tend to overwhelm ourselves. We tend to stay in the big picture mindset. Um, and I think for the most part, most individuals have a hard time doing that little tiny step, right? Do
Mm-hmm.
you coach in the regards of papers, or like, I like index cards. I think they're amazing. I'm a paper mess.
Yeah. Yeah. So what I do, like I'll do like say online webinars, but if I'm working with just individually, it's really I'm interviewing you, and I'm going to find out what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are, what your skill level is compared to what you're trying to do, and how much time you can put into it. And then we'll start to look at little action steps that we can do. And then who is it that that could take over some of the stuff that you're trying to do yourself? So I'm more of really just kind of negotiating, getting to know what the person needs, and then finding the solutions. A lot of times I can find a solution that they're not seeing, and as soon as I say it, it's obvious to them. Like, oh, how come I couldn't see that? But it's just because you're coming in from a different view. You're able to see things in a different way than the person that's in it and stressed out and struggling.
I have a friend who has this really big scheme that's so multifaceted that she got really overwhelmed. And so, like you come in from a fresh set of eyes. And I think it's so incredibly important to do that. And that networking and that mentoring and that sharing and collaboration makes things shinier, I think. I think it makes it bigger and prettier and more amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so her first set of business, because this is a very big endeavor, I gave her was to find people who align with each subject matter that are experts and have them on your board.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great strategy. And so I have a book called The Lonelypreneur, and that's one of the key parts in the book is finding your team. I always say, who's on your team? Because if you don't have a team, you're a solopreneur, and that's a really big struggle. Now you got to learn everything. But if you have people that, I always say, have somebody that's above you that's already done it, have someone that's at your level, and then even have somebody that's coming up where you're kind of mentoring them. Because as you're helping other people, you learn a lot yourself, because you have a lot of experiences, but there's some things that they're running into that you haven't run into yet. And by working through that with them, you're learning from them, even though they're not where you are right now. So having that range really helps.
I agree, absolutely. I think that's one of the best coaching mechanisms that you can utilize in every aspect of your life, not just business. I think even interpersonally, if you want to grow, stretch, and do better as an individual in society, having those variations of layers are such insight and so powerful. That's why I love doing this podcast and the YouTube series, because I get to be inspired by each and every person that's on here, which allows me to grow, change, and motivate and be a better version of myself. Do you find as you're consulting that sometimes ego gets in the way?
Yeah, a lot of times ego is probably one of the biggest factors that's stopping someone, and it's in the fact that they're afraid to fail. And I always try to explain to people that every winner was a loser first. And if you are not willing to lose, you won't grow, you won't expand, and you're never going to be at the top of your game, because nobody comes into the game already knowing exactly how to play it and all the right moves to make. So when they can get out of that mindset of not being afraid to fail and understanding that the more that you fail, the further ahead you're gonna go. Is basically, I don't know who said it, but I heard someone say fail forward, and it's really what you do. You learn and you grow every time you fail.
What is the one coaching mistake that you've made? We all have done it at least 5 times.
Me, the biggest ones, I've made a few. So but the biggest one I think is trying to help someone that didn't really want help. They were really looking for a buddy or someone to help them stay as a victim of whatever they went through. And, putting in all kinds of energy into someone that basically really didn't want to move forward. They wanted someone to listen to their problems. And now that I see the difference, I can identify it pretty quickly. Usually I'd be able to identify it before I even start working with someone. So I know if that's what they're needing. I have other people, because I don't do relationship coaching or any of that type of thing. So I'll pass them off to someone else that might be able to help them better. But I used to try to help everybody and anybody that I could.
I feel you on that, and it's draining. And
Yeah.
though there are things, it would be nice to have a magic wand to make everybody better and make their dreams come true. If I had that opportunity, everybody would be in their highest vibration and in their best version of themselves.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work that way. My nose doesn't twinkle the way they showed me on Bewitched when I was growing up. Liars.
Yeah.
Liars. So talk to me a little bit about vetting. Like, you are experienced enough to know, and you have signs and signals, and you know where you want to go and who you want to resonate with, because when you both groove, you can create really awesome. How hard is it for you to vet people?
It's a little bit of a process, and it depends on how I met the person. So when I'm at a networking event, it's easier because I can ask questions and really see if there's things that I can help the person with. But if it's through DM or through like Facebook or some kind of social media, then I have to get a video call. I have to have a video call and just kind of see where they're at, what kind of blockers they have. And depending on the blockers, if a lot of the blockers are like a victim mentality, you can really start to see that, because if they're blaming a lot of things and they're not taking any responsibility for where they're at or where they can go, they're usually not the kind of person that I can help, because I'm all about solutions, and solutions means you have to take responsibility for where you are, and then say to yourself, okay, now I can fix it. I just need to know what steps I should do first. What is the sequence that's going to get me there the fastest? So I really look for any kind of language or any kind of attitude or stories that where the person really just wants to be a victim and feel good about being stuck. And if they're in that position, I really can't help them.
Nobody can. I mean, that's the reality of the situation, and I think that sometimes people get stuck that way and they don't realize they're stuck that way. And sometimes as a coach, it's kind of our responsibility to be like, I don't think you're ready for me yet. I don't think you're motivated for me yet. I don't think you want this yet. And sometimes they actually do come around when they're supposed to, when they're ready. Are you internationally based? Do you do everything virtually, or?
Yeah, so most of the stuff I try to do is online. I find it's more effective. I can help a lot more people faster than having to travel. But I do some in-person stuff for like around my area. But even those, a lot of times we'll do most of our coaching through like Zoom or Facebook.
Yeah, it's a kind of an interesting time period we're living in, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
I think technology is really being challenged. I think we're stretching the seam of possibilities. And for those of us who are motivated, we can find opportunities where once there was none. I don't think it was grammatically correct.
Yeah. Well, I
You know
call
what
it,
I'm putting down.
yeah, I call it hidden advantages. There's like hidden advantages that not everybody sees, but if you can see them, you can move forward even when everybody else is either stuck or moving backward.
Stuck or moving backwards. What is that like for you as a coach when you are stuck or moving backwards yourself in your coaching?
So it happens, every once in a while where you have all these big ideas and you got it all laid out, planned out in your head. You visualized it, you've said your affirmations, made your declarations, and then nothing kind of flows the way it should. And you get frustrated because you feel like you're not moving forward. So a lot of times I step back, right? I step back because it's a setback, but I just call it a step back. And then I just kind of reflect and look at, okay, what is it that I'm not getting? A lot of times I find, so a lot of people will talk about divine timing, and it wasn't the right time. It wasn't the right time, but I say, no, it's divine preparation. So it's preparing me. So it's saying, okay, you don't have enough skills, or you don't have enough connections, or there's something that you need to do before you can move forward. So I have to look at, okay, what is it that's missing for me to be able to move forward? And then that keeps me motivated instead of beating myself up and saying, oh, this just isn't working. I'm no good at this. I bit off more than I can chew. I look at it as, okay, there's something I'm missing. It's either a relationship that I need to develop, or it's a skill I need to learn, or an attitude or a habit that I need to learn. What is it that I need to learn that's going to push me past that?
I absolutely love that because I'm a true believer that, we all have parts of us that we need to heal from our own stuff. And we all have a limited ability to know everything, right? We don't know what we don't
Yeah.
know until we know. That's like my huge motto.
Yeah.
And being open to assessing that is huge. So as a coach, one coach to another, when you're sitting down at making the assessment with your client or potential client, if they're not open to having conversations outside of their box, it's never going to be successful.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a skill to try to draw that out and make them comfortable where they will trust you to tell you things that they're embarrassed about or they don't want to admit. And so building up that trust sometimes takes time. It sometimes takes where you have to teach them a few little wins on the surface level before you can really go deep into what's really holding them back.
Training tools, tips, and tricks. Do you have any that we could be practicing right now during the pandemic? Because you guys aren't going anywhere. And I know we just opened up our state slightly, never really
Yeah.
closed. It's bullshit. Nobody listens.
Yeah.
But those of us who are motivated, what would you offer?
So exactly like what you were saying when I first came onto the call is, so what I always do is I get up in the morning, I do my morning routines. You should have a routine for the morning that's going to set up your day for success. I always write down at least one big goal that I want to accomplish that day, and a small goal, and then I'll have a big weekly goal. But I always get dressed. So once I've done my routine, I'll go take my shower and I'll get dressed for business. I'll get dressed for my success, even if I'm not going to be doing any video calls. If I'm working on my business stuff, that's the difference between me in my personal time and me in my business time. I think if you get into that habit, because you would do that normally if you were going out to see a client, or if you're going out to your job. So if you work from home as if you were working in an office, that's a huge, and it's a skill because a lot of people can't do it, but it's a huge benefit to you because then you take everything you're doing more seriously. But
I
if
don't know.
you're,
I don't know if they can't do it. I'm one of those people that you're either willing to do it, because everybody's able to do.
yeah,
Everybody's
that's
able to
true.
do.
Yeah.
It's, are you willing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know? A
Yeah.
lot of us are just so complacent and loving our Netflix and all of our calories and lounging around like lizards that I think we've kind of forgotten what it's like to get up and dress for success.
Yeah. But when you put on a nice clothes and you feel good, you're also more focused. You feel like getting more done. But when you're in your t-shirt and or you're in your pajamas, you're in that relaxed mode. So it's going to be harder to get things done. So I think of all the skills, I think that's an important one. And then I don't know if you find this, but I'm running into a lot of people that are scared to do video calls. And it's, it's like, if you can't get through that, like what if down the road we have to do more video calls, and we have like this social distancing is complicated, and more of your meetings are going to be, maybe you got to present at a Zoom board call. You have to start to get used to being on camera and speaking, and have that, because it is different. It's a different dynamic than being face to face with someone. But I think that's a skill that everybody needs to get better at.
And ironically, the call that I had before you, we were literally, that's where we ended, was she just doesn't like technology. And
Okay.
and I said, well, you're growing your business, you're getting ready to go on tour with your new book. You need to embrace technology. Technology isn't a fun thing. Technology can be quite a pain in the ass for most people, and I feel that, but we also have to remember that it's a tool for our universal purpose, meaning we have a purpose to get our teaching, our coaching, books out, whatever, and this is the tool to get there. Once upon a time, cavemen had no teeth, no fire, and a rock.
Yeah.
So reality is we've come a long way, baby. And technology is what it is. It is a beast. It is sometimes a hindrance, but it's also a tool. Just like when you go to use a hammer and a nail and the damn hammer hits you on the thumb, everybody's going to start swearing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But you still use the hammer, or we wouldn't have houses.
Yeah, it's exactly. I mean, I ran into people that are scared to fly, and so they're really just local, and I go all over the place, and they're in awe. And I'm like, well, if you go into a plane, once you've done it once, it's still scary. Sometimes you have turbulence and you get scared, but you land and then you get off the plane and you get to do all these great things that you couldn't have done if you stayed just in your area. So the fear of something can stop you. What's that?
You don't need a plane. There's motorcycles,
No.
bicycles, cars, taxis, trains. I mean, there's all kinds of different methods. So the real excuse for people like that is they don't want to get outside their comfort zone.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, because it's comfortable. Mm-hmm. But that's things that like I find fear will stop you. The fear of what might happen will stop you from doing things that you could do that other people.
You're kind of making voidy weird noises. Try that again.
I tell people all the time. Well, I was saying, what I tell people is what's true for you is only true for you. Mm-hmm.
Where can we find more information about you?
So I do a lot of stuff on Instagram and have links to a lot of my things. So Instagram is a good place, w.t.hamilton on Instagram. On Amazon, I have all my books there. So if you search up W.T. Hamilton on it, Amazon, you'll find my author page, get the links for that. And then website is wherethewindblows.ca.
So he keeps coming in and out, but his information will be down below, and he's back. You're like a Dr. Who thing.
Oh yeah, okay. So am I frozen now?
No, you're good.
Okay, all right. But yeah, I was just saying about the Instagram and Amazon are big places. So if you search up W.T. Hamilton, find me on there.
All right. So 5 tips and tricks to get through any life storms, currently a pandemic, but you know, you live in icy, snowy season, blizzard, stuff like that. And I lived in that for a while. I live in hurricane land now. People are going through earthquakes. So life is going to keep coming no matter what this is. What are
Yeah.
you doing?
So you want 5 tips?
Yeah, 5 tips and tricks. And then
Yeah.
doesn't, if you have two, has two. I'm not, there's no quiz at the end.
Yeah. So I always have a plan. Have a plan for anything that you want to do, because the plan is like your direction. And then I always try to find reasons to say yes. So I make excuses for why I should follow through and do something. And then I always have gratitude for anything that works out, and it could be anything. I have gratitude for if I'm driving to go see a client and I'm hungry and I stop and I grab a coffee. I have gratitude for the people. So the gratitude really paves the way. And then I always find that if you say thank you and genuinely say thank you, that opens up doors for you. It's kind of magical. It's weird how that works, but the gratitude, saying thank you, knowing where you want to go, and then not being afraid to make mistakes. Because if you're not afraid to make mistakes, you're always going to move forward. That things won't block you. So those are my philosophies for getting through anything.
I think you have to make mistakes. You know, I was talking to somebody on that I was a guest on somebody else's show this week, and we were talking about failure. And everybody fails, and it's okay, and you're supposed to, and it's really cool. I don't know how it became a negative mindset for so many people. I mean, think about when you were like 5 or 6 or 3 or however old you were when you first started to ride a bike. How many
Mm-hmm.
times did you fall? That was part of the
Yeah.
expectation. You knew you were going to fall because you still have to get your equilibrium and figure out how this thing works and get your body to move that way. And it takes a couple of times. And sometimes it
Mm-hmm.
hurts, right? I
Yeah.
remember going off a ramp when I was like 8 years old because I grew up with boys. Anyway, so
Mm-hmm.
flying off the ramp and totally skinned my entire side. Um, it hurt. I remember that part.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
anyway, I still got it back on my bike and I still raced on the ramp because it was an expectation. And yes, getting on my side hurt and it was not successful, but it didn't prevent me from trying again. And
Mm-hmm.
somewhere, somehow, our wiring got confused on what failure really means, which is, to me personally, you learned, you probably won't do it again. Yeah, you're going to fail again. And yeah, you're going to learn again.
Yeah. But I think once you finish college or high school or college or university, it's almost like there's an expectation that you should know what you're doing. And if you stumble and you fall and you fail, like if you start a business and it's not successful after the first 3 months, that you're not a success. And it's this mindset that people have, and it is unrealistic, that you can spend 2 to 4 years to get your degree, but then as soon as you've got your degree, you're supposed to instantly be successful at everything you do. That's not very realistic, but somehow that's where people have this whole perception of, if you write a book and it's not a #1 book after the first 3 months, you're not successful.
I just say the reason why you're not successful, especially with book writing, is that everybody's writing books. There's no
Mm-hmm.
filter anymore. I mean, you can publish as many books as you want, and it's so
Yeah.
loud and chaotic. So it's definitely difficult to brand yourself so loud and so sparkly and so beautiful quickly to be above the noise.
Mm-hmm.
Make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think entrepreneurs now have to work harder in order to be above the noise and way more creative than ever. I mean, we really are fighting upstream in some ways, don't you think? I think he froze again. WT, where are you? You're watching Living and Thriving with Rusty, and that was WT Hamilton. Go to WTHamilton.com. All of his links will be down below. I don't know what happened to him. I think he got caught in the vortex. There he is.
Yeah,
No
yeah,
words. You just kind of you freeze on me, and I don't know what happened. Zombie apocalypse.
yeah, must be, yeah. Maybe there's too many people using Zoom right now.
Well, and again, we have to stretch our technology. So I can only imagine being developers for Zoom and Skype and all those things, because they must be pulling their hair out.
I was on a call last week, and it was they had a limit of 5,000 people, and there was 5,000 people on there, and they were trying to do a share screen, and it kept freezing constantly. And they were scrambling, doing all kinds of different things to make adjustments. But yeah, sometimes you just have to go with the flow and make adjustments as you go.
Isn't that the way life is? And I think when you become authentically you, and you're really authentic with the reality, and you lose that celebrity hyperbole that we're fed, and you get down to the nitty gritty of what life really is, oh Lord, it's fun. It's
It
fun,
is.
and it's not pretty, and it's not always glittery, and stuff happens. How do you ride through that wave? That's why we watch Living and Thriving.
Yeah, exactly.
Give us your address one more time. And I was really grateful to learn a little bit more about you. And I love the fact that you're Canadian. Ontario's
Mm-hmm.
so beautiful. And any parting words, because I have to cut the cord, so to speak.
Yeah. Well, you can get me on WT Hamilton on Instagram. You can find me on Amazon. And parting words are just, your ideas found you for a reason. And so at the very minimum, you should explore them at the very
Oh,
minimum.
that is beautiful. Your ideas found you for a reason, and you might as well explore them, because they're going to keep knocking at your door. I
Yeah.
love it. Very nice. Don't be a stranger. Let us know if there's anything more that we can do for you. WT. And stay sane and stay happy, and, have fun.
Yeah. And thank you for inviting me on your show. I really enjoyed it. It's a
Good.
great conversation.
Take care.
All right. Thank you.
You're watching Living and Thriving with Rusty, and that was WT Hamilton. His information will be down here, or over there, or somewhere. I have no idea, wherever I put it. Takeaway: your ideas found you, so you might as well acknowledge them and explore them. Don't have to make a commitment, but if you explore them, maybe it could be a lot of fun. Who knows? Find your passion, write a mission statement. Routine, routine, routine. I cannot stress that enough. And my goodness, blessings and gratitude. It is really nice to say thank you and genuinely mean it. It makes other people feel so good. And I know here I'm extra nice to all of our grocery workers and people that have been nonstop through this time period. And they've taken quite a beating, not from me, that's for sure. But kindness opens a ton of doors, and it just feels good no matter what. Till next time, know that you're loved, know that you're beautiful, and be kind to yourself. Go be of service, do something kind for somebody else. Take care.